Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be testing the Too Faced Born This Way foundation and giving you my first impressions. I know this is not a new product and it's been out for a number of years, and it's one that I've seen a lot of people speak about and it's got quite good reviews, so I'm going to try it out for myself. If you've seen the previous foundation testing video that I did, it was about the Smashbox Studio Skin foundation, which is the one that I've been wearing ever since that video, which I think went up about 2 years ago. And as I'm almost at the end of yet another bottle, I thought I would try out something new. So I am going to be giving you my first impressions. I'm going to wear it all day and I will let you know my thoughts when I first apply it and also later on in the day once I've worn it for a number of hours. So if you'd like to see my first impressions on the Too Faced Born This Way foundation, then please keep on watching. So this is the box. It's really pretty, as is all the Too Faced packaging. I always love how they present their products. It says it's an undetectable medium to full coverage foundation, which is the coverage that I tend to go for. On the side of the box it says it's infused with coconut water to aid in delicately replenishing skin's moisture levels, alpine rose to help brighten and boost skin's radiance, and hyaluronic acid for a smoother, more youthful appearance. It also says this oil-free foundation masterfully diffuses the line between makeup and skin. Coverage so undetectable and skin so naturally radiant they'll think you were born this way. It also says a tip for I woke up like this perfection. Apply from the center of the face outward and blend. Build to full coverage by layering as needed. There's also some stats at the bottom as well, which I'll read. It says 100% said this foundation blurred their imperfections, 100% said this foundation made their skin look absolutely perfect, and 97% said this foundation provided natural coverage. So just reading that information from the box and what this claims to do, it sounds absolutely amazing. It sounds like the perfect foundation. I got this in the shade light beige. I'm not sure if this is going to be the right shade for me. I actually went into the Too Faced store in London, I think it was Carnaby Street, and I had my foundation shade matched. So this is what it looks like inside. I love the frosted glass packaging, and it also comes with a pump, which is really good for easy application because a lot of the high-end foundations don't come with a pump, and it's so much easier when you have one. So I love that it comes with that. I'm not sure on the colour, but we will see. We will see. So just for reference, my skin type is combination, so it can be quite dry sometimes, but it also can get quite oily throughout the day. And just to let you guys know that this morning I cleansed my skin and then I applied a moisturiser, which was this one, which I've actually only been using for like the last week or so. This is the Revolution Skincare London Hydration Boost Lightweight Hydrating Gel Cream, and it's actually oil free just like the foundation, so it should be okay on oily skin. I won't be using a primer. In fact, I haven't actually used a primer, like a proper one, for probably about a year or so. I ran out of the one that I was using and then never repurchased, and to be honest I've just been using a moisturiser as a primer and it seems to work fine. In fact, this one has been really good actually. It kind of doubles up as a primer as well because it's quite a thick consistency. It's a gel-like cream but it sinks into the skin. It's a very weird formula, but it works and it's so nice. So that is kind of what I'm using as my primer as well. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to be doing half of my face with a beauty blender and then the other half with a foundation brush, just to see if there's any difference in the way that it applies and also in the way that it lasts as well. So I think I'm going to start with a foundation brush. This is the Spectrum Collection's A02 angled foundation brush. I'm just going to pump a bit onto my hand so you guys can see what it comes out like. Okay. I'm going to go in with 2 pumps. That is what it looks like. So it's quite a thick consistency, which is nice. It doesn't run down my hand straight away. I have a mirror just behind my camera and also one just in front of me down here, so if I'm looking in different directions, sorry if it's a bit annoying, but I'm going to try and apply this foundation the best that I can. I'm going to go in with the foundation brush first and I'm going to apply it to this side. That is quite a lot of coverage from quite a small amount of product. I've still got a lot on my hand. I don't know if it looks a bit orange in person. It looks a bit more orange. I don't know. Maybe once I've blended it out it'll look a bit better. But in terms of like that first impression of how it went on, coverage immediately is amazing. It covered my skin with barely any product, and in fact that small amount has gone quite a long way. It's almost that side of my face done already. I'm gonna apply a little bit more. Wow, that is very good coverage, which I'm definitely not complaining about. That was only like 2 pumps and that's covered pretty much completely. I don't think I would really need to add any more product, and that is like the initial difference. So this is the clean side, I haven't got anything on here, and then this is the side with the coverage, and to touch it, it doesn't feel sticky but it does feel a little bit tacky, and I think it does transfer a little bit onto your skin. Once I've set it with powder and everything, hopefully it won't do that, so we will see. In terms of how that's applied though with a brush, I'm very much impressed. In fact, I don't tend to use a foundation brush to apply my foundation. I use a beauty blender, so just to see the difference, it's actually applied really well with that brush. It's easy to sort of buff into the skin and work with, and I think it looks really good considering I've only used a very small amount of product. Initially, yeah, I'm very happy with that. You can see that there is obviously a big difference, and it's covered a lot of the redness and everything really well, so I'm impressed so far. I'm going to go in now with the beauty blender. I have wet this and I have cleaned it, but obviously you can't get all of the foundation off, so sorry about that. But we're going to go with the same sort of process. So I'm going to pump some foundation onto my hand. I'm going to go with 2 pumps again just to be fair. So then I'm going to use the beauty blender and we're just going to apply this to this side. Quite easy to work with actually, and it blends really nicely. It feels very cooling with the beauty blender because obviously I've wet it before, and it feels nicer, I would say, to put it on with a beauty blender, but in terms of actually how it looks, it's pretty much the same. I just prefer to use this application. In fact, looking at it side by side, I would say the side that I've used with the beauty blender, I think it's actually applied better. I've used the same amount of pumps, which was 2, and in fact I haven't even used all of those 2. I don't know if it's just in person or if you can even see it on camera, but I think it applies slightly better with the beauty blender. I might go in again on this side with the brush because I do have to go out and I can kind of see a bit of a difference. I don't know how easy it is to see on camera, but there is a bit of a line, especially like on my nose, so I'm just going to use the rest of the product from here. Just to keep this fair, I'm going to use the brush again this side. But to be honest, both forms of application work really well. It seems to blend very easily. In terms of the colour, I still think it's too dark for me. As you can see from like my neck to my actual face, like if I turn to the side, you can see that it doesn't match. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to finish the rest of my makeup. So I'm going to apply some concealer, some powder, some bronzer, and I'm also going to instant tan my neck. So hopefully I'm going to get this all matching. I will finish my makeup off camera and I will come back in just a few moments and show you the finished look. Okay, so I've just finished applying the rest of my makeup. My cat has also decided to join me. This is Socks. She's very cute. So it's almost been an hour, in fact, since I applied the foundation. So it's almost 1 o'clock in the afternoon. That's not me as my background, by the way. That's Miley Cyrus because I love her. I applied this about midday, a little bit later in the day than I was planning on doing, but I am going to still wear it for the full day. I'm going to get 8+ hours worth of wear from this makeup, and I will definitely report back to you later on this evening. So I'm going to be going out in about half an hour. I've actually got work this afternoon until 7:30 this evening, so I will film again after that and just show you how it's been wearing since. I've managed to kind of get it to match a little bit better now. I've applied some instant tan to my neck and obviously to my hands as well to make it all kind of match. It does still look a little bit too dark for my skin, which is really annoying because I did go into store specifically to get my colour match because I didn't want to risk buying the wrong shade online, but I mean, it's not the end of the world. It kind of looks alright. I'm just hoping that it doesn't oxidize. What are you doing? She's getting annoyed with me. I'm hoping that it doesn't oxidize. The woman in store did say that it doesn't, so hopefully it won't get any darker than this because then it definitely won't match. Looking at the foundation as a whole, it does look very, very nice. It does cover all of my imperfections the way that I would like them to be covered, and it doesn't look too cakey at all. So if I come a bit closer to the camera and show you my skin up close. So this is the side that I did with the foundation brush. As you can see, it's covered pretty well. On top of this, I've got a setting powder, which is the Laura Mercier translucent powder, and also some Hoola Benefit bronzer as well. And then obviously this is the side that I did with the beauty blender. It's pretty much the same, but I think I prefer the way that it applied with the beauty blender, but that's just personal preference. But looking at my skin up close, this is how it looks. It doesn't look cakey. It doesn't look like I've put on too much, which, you know, sometimes it can look a little bit like, oh, you've applied a little bit too much, but it does still give a very good amount of coverage. So my first impressions and thoughts so far, I love the way that it applies both with a brush and a beauty blender. I guess it depends on how you prefer to apply your makeup, but it looks good with both. It is definitely a medium to full coverage. I only did a couple of pumps per side of my face, which was probably a little bit too much, to be honest. I don't think you really need that much, but obviously if you want to build up a little bit more, if you've got certain imperfections that you want to cover, then you can definitely use some more and it will build nicely. And we will just see how well this lasts throughout the day. So I tend to go oily sort of in my T-zone, I guess, around my nose and my chin. They're the areas that tend to get the most oily, so I will try not to touch up any of my makeup at all today. I'm not going to apply a setting spray just because I want to see how the foundation works as a foundation on its own without any sort of additional products to help its longevity. So I really like it so far. I'm hoping that it sort of stays like this throughout the day and doesn't wear off. When I said earlier that I touched my skin and it felt a little bit tacky, it's definitely dried now, but it doesn't feel like solid. I can still move my face. It doesn't feel like I'm wearing any foundation at all, which is really nice. If you're the type of person that sort of touches your face throughout the day, then you might get a bit of transfer, possibly. In terms of the colour, I know the colour's a little bit too dark for me, but in terms of like the finish, it does look very natural. It does cover my imperfections really well, and I'm just really impressed with how it looks overall. So we will see in a few hours what it is like. So it is now just gone 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I've been wearing this for an hour now, and this is what it looks like with the rest of my makeup. Very happy with it so far, and I will check in with you guys again probably now when I get back from work, so it'll probably be about 8 p.m. ish. I will keep it on for probably a little bit longer than that as well, just to get a few extra hours, and then I will probably check in again maybe like 10. I don't know, we will see what time I can check in with you guys again later, but for now I am very impressed and I hope that it lasts like this throughout the whole day. Hi guys, so it is now 20 past 10 in the evening and I've had this makeup on for almost 10.5 hours now. I don't know how well you can see this on camera, but I think that the colour of my face compared to the colour of my neck and my hands, I think my face has gotten darker throughout the day compared to my neck. And I'm going to get closer so you guys can see. Like, I don't know how well it shows on camera, but like, look at the difference between my face and my neck. I swear the difference in colour was not as drastic as that one I left earlier. I actually put on like 2 or 3 layers of instant tan to try and make it look a little bit better in terms of how the colour matched, because when I first applied it, obviously I knew it was too dark for me. And the woman in the store, she actually said to me that this foundation doesn't oxidize. Now, I don't know if it's the foundation or if it's my skin, but it's definitely more orange and it's darker now than it was when I first applied it. So I'm not quite sure what's happened there. She says it doesn't oxidize, but it looks like it has. It may be because I didn't use a primer, or it might be because I didn't use a setting spray, or I just don't know. But it's definitely darker now than it was when I first put it on earlier, so I'm not keen on that at all. It doesn't match. I'm not overly impressed with the colour. The colour aside, as you can see, I am very oily, which is pretty standard for me, so I do tend to get quite oily throughout the day, but this does seem quite oily. So I'm going to show you guys up close. The main bits that are oily is around my nose, so obviously on my forehead and my chin. In fact, I'm pretty oily all over, but my nose in particular, as you can see, it is very oily. And I've also lost colour sort of just around my lips. So the update is coming a little bit later than planned because I finished work at 7:30 and then my parents met me in town and we went out for something to eat. So I'm doing this update a little bit later, but to be honest, it's pretty much been the same since I finished work. So I'm not overly impressed with it so far, to be absolutely honest. On camera from here, it doesn't look too bad, I don't think. But in person, it definitely looks way too dark for me. And that's quite annoying because especially as I specifically went into store to get colour matched, I took the woman's advice and it's really annoying that it's actually too dark for me. Like, this foundation is like just under £30, so to spend quite a lot of money on a foundation that isn't really suitable for me is incredibly annoying. But in terms of how it's worn throughout the day, like I say, I feel like it has oxidized. I don't know if it's the foundation or if it's something to do with my skin, but I feel like it is definitely darker than it was when I first put it on. So this is how it's been throughout the whole day. I haven't touched it up at all. I haven't done anything at all to my face. So I'm going to apply some powder with a brush. This is again from Spectrum Collections. This is the A00 brush. Right, it's kind of coming off, but this is the A00 brush. Also, in terms of the side that I did with the beauty blender and the side that I did with the foundation brush, there's not a lot of difference, to be absolutely honest. So I think it's more just about personal preference on how you prefer to apply your foundation. Whatever works easiest for you, you pretty much get the same result. So I'm just going to apply some powder now, just to see if it actually kind of rescues the oily mess. It actually does pretty much save it. I'll just do one half of my face so you can see the difference. Okay, so now looking at my face, I feel like I can see a line. I don't know if that's just on camera or if that's... I can kind of see it in person too. There's like a line down my face. Now, with the powder, actually, this is really interesting. The colour isn't as drastic. It still doesn't match, like it definitely doesn't match. But I feel like it's not as drastic as this side, which is really weird. I don't know what's happening. But the side that I've now applied the powder with, it does look very similar to what it did when I first applied the makeup this afternoon. Bearing in mind I've had this foundation on for like 10.5 hours. If I show you up close, so this is the side I've now just applied powder. If you look compared to this side, where it is extremely oily, I feel like the colour has kind of changed, which is weird because this is a translucent powder, so there isn't a colour to it. So I'm not sure why I've got this line going on. I'm going to apply powder to the rest of my face, just so I don't look like an idiot with a line down my face. In terms of how it's worn, it's not done too badly, especially now I've added the powder. I feel like you can definitely rescue it if you do get quite shiny. Even though this foundation is oil free, if you have similar skin to mine, you probably will find that your skin will produce oil throughout the day and it might end up looking quite shiny, and it also might end up changing the shade of your foundation. Like, I'm a little bit confused right now. But if you don't mind just applying a bit of powder throughout the day, or even like a blotting sheet, I'm sure that would work just as well. I think this foundation could really work. But in all fairness, I am actually really impressed with how it's worn and how it's lasted. So my final thoughts on the Too Faced Born This Way foundation are, I really like the formula and I like how it sits on the skin. It doesn't feel too heavy, but it does give really nice coverage. It's super buildable and blendable. It blends really easily onto your skin. It does wear really well throughout the day. Obviously, I did get quite a lot of oil that came through, but it was easy to blot it away with a bit of powder, so it kind of restored it back to what it was when I first applied it. I would probably give this about a 7 out of 10. I'm gonna go and take all of this makeup off now because it's been on all day and I just want to get into bed and start editing. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video and you found it useful. Please give it a thumbs up if you did, and also don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Leave a comment down below and just let me know if you've ever tried this foundation or if it's something that you would like to try. I'm always interested to know. And also, if there's any foundations or makeup products that you want me to try out, also leave a comment down below or contact me on my social media and I would be happy to try a new product for you. But for now, thank you all so much for watching and I will see you all in my next video.